Madison School Board will have a different look when they meet later tonight, and there's no shortage of issues to address in their first meeting.
And a piece of history comes down in Janesville as one of the most recognizable pieces of the former GM plant is no longer there.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now This Morning.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us on this Monday, April 29th. A soggy start to the morning and a soggy start for Hattie. We're going to come over here and just kind of let her dry out a little bit.
Yeah, you're soaked.
Yeah, you need the raincoat that's head to toe.
But it could be snow.
That's true.
It could be snow.
It was snow not that long ago.
Oh, man, 2 days ago.
Parts of the area, but it all melted on Sunday. Chris is going to have a wrap-up of that weekend snowstorm coming up in a few minutes. But first, let's talk about how we start our morning. You're going to have to make your own sunshine today because Mother Nature's not going to give it to us. We have a very gray start to the morning. Lots of rain across southern Wisconsin as well. Here's a look at the radar map. Those showers really filling in over the last hour and a half, so the rain is pretty widespread right now. It's light to moderate, not detecting any thunder at this time in southern Wisconsin. These rain showers will continue to move through the area this morning. Things should dry out for the afternoon. Temperatures, though, are in the 40s, so at least it's rain. I guess Camp Douglas has dropped to 38 now, but still above the freezing point, so it's all rain for southern Wisconsin. Here's a look at our temperatures over the next 12 hours. We're headed to highs right around 50 this afternoon. Clouds are going to hang around, but that rain comes to an end this morning. Here's a look at your first alert traffic maps. Roads are pretty wet in all locations, so we're starting to see a few slowdowns here and there. Slowdowns on the Beltline right around Verona Road and Stoughton Road. It's pretty typical for this time of the morning. No accidents report, which is great news. You might want to add a little extra time to your commute this morning just to account for the rain. Things tend to slow down a little bit when the roads are wet.
And a bit chilly.
Yeah, it is, and I wonder how long we're going to be saying, at least it's rain.
I know.
Well, and we're just trying to look at the positive side of things, right?
Yes, we are.
It is almost May. Things are going to be very green after this week.
That's the plus side. There we go. Thank you, Hattie.
You're welcome.
All right, timer now 6:02, and we start this half hour with breaking news into the Channel3000.com Alert Center. We now can report the first major endorsement in the 2020 presidential race. The International Association of Firefighters is endorsing former Vice President Joe Biden, who officially declared his candidacy last week. The Firefighters Union is the first major labor group to officially support a candidate in the race.
In other national news this morning, one person is dead and 6 others are hurt after a shooting at a cookout in West Baltimore. That shooting happened near 2 churches, but investigators say the shooting was not connected to planned events at those places. As of this morning, no one is in custody. Police say there may have been multiple shooters.
Funeral services will be held today for the woman killed in a shooting at a Jewish synagogue in California over the weekend. 60-year-old Lori Gilbert Kay was killed and 3 others were wounded when a gunman started shooting in the middle of a Sabbath service on the last day of Passover. The 19-year-old suspect may be charged with a felony hate crime in addition to homicide charges. He's due in court later this week. The Wisconsin Jewish community is also mourning those impacted by Saturday's shooting. The daughter of a rabbi wounded in the shooting recently worked at the Shul Center Synagogue in Milwaukee's suburb of Bayside. The director of that synagogue says the shooting is devastating.
We really thought that this was a thing of the past, but unfortunately this is a reality today.
The Shul Center is part of the same network of Chabad synagogues as the one in California.
All right, 6:03 your time now. Madison has a chance to meet its new all-female school board at a series of meetings happening in your own backyard.
Tonight is your first opportunity to see them in action, and our Amy Reed joins us live with a preview. Good morning, Amy.
Good morning. Tonight, this is going to be at least the first of at least 3 meetings on the road for Madison School Board. And tonight, Chavez Elementary will play host. In about 45 minutes before the meeting starts, about 5:15, there will be a little reception, give you a chance to meet face-to-face with that brand new school board. It gives you a chance to talk to them about what you'd like to see them tackle and their goals for the year. But after that, the meeting gets right down to business. There is a lot that they want want to accomplish this year. The first big task will be passing a budget for the 2019-2020 school year. They want that budget to reflect the values of the community, which is why they want to hear from you. They said they want to continue a culture of safety and respect at the schools, and they also want to further their Black Excellence programs. Something for voters to be aware of as well. The board is planning on getting a referendum on the ballot next year. In previous reports, that's been about $30 to $70 million per high school in Madison School District. Mary Burke, the current president of the board, said that money is needed.
We also have the plans for a big new facilities referendum that would invest in all 4 of our Madison high schools, which right now have an average age of 75 years. They're really in need of both maintenance and revitalization, and we think November of 2020 would be a great time to take that to the community.
If you can't make it to Chavez Elementary tonight to get your voice heard on these issues, there will be more meetings on the road. Burke said the board is planning at least 3 meetings on the road. Now, they don't have a location for those yet, but if you guys like them, they also plan to do more.
All right, Amy Reed reporting for us in the rain. Jump back in the truck, Amy. We'll see you in about half an hour.
All right, it is 6:05 right now. We do have a first alert traffic note for you this morning, especially important if your morning drive takes you on Highway 19 through Sun Prairie. Reconstruction of the intersection at Highway 19 and Broadway Drive is scheduled to start today. Crews will be upgrading traffic lights and making more accommodations for pedestrians and people riding bikes. That work should be finished by the end of August. After that, the city of Sun Prairie will work on rebuilding Broadway Drive north of that intersection later this summer.
More local news now. An iconic piece of the old General Motors plant down in Janesville is gone this morning. Take a look at this video. This is footage from yesterday of the century-old smokestack being knocked down. It's part of a scheduled demolition started by the site's new owners about a year ago. According to the Janesville Gazette, the 200-foot stack was built in 1919. 2 photographers, Andy Sigwell and Josh Marks, have been documenting the whole process since it started, watching carefully to capture this historic moment.
I'd go up every 15 minutes every day and make sure I was not going to miss anything until the sun went down.
100 years of history gone now, you know. I mean, they turned 200 some acres, 4.8 million square feet into rubble, you know, and that was the last icon to go.
Quite the dedication there. The 2 photographers are planning to continue documenting the site's transformation. The plant has been closed since 2009.
A Madison bookstore is holding a book drive to help kids get their hands on some good literature. The Half Pint Library Book Drive at Half Pint or Half Price Books is collecting children's books to be distributed to local educators and nonprofits. Half Price Books employees will sort through them all to ensure kids receive high-quality books. If you have any new or gently used books you want to donate, you can drop them off at any Half Price Books location through tomorrow. Each book donation will be matched.
All right, still ahead this morning, it's an event that shows people of all abilities can be athletes. We're joined by a pair of young athletes showing there's no limit to what they can do as they get ready for a one-of-a-kind adaptive sports competition this weekend in the Madison area.
And you might want to make sure you have that raincoat and umbrella as you head out to work or school this morning. Hattie says scattered showers should end this morning, but it's the start of a pretty wet forecast this week. Her first alert forecast is next on News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning from the patio, which is very soggy. It started out dry this morning, but now it's just a big puddle with some steady rain coming down. At least it is liquid. Temperatures yesterday would have been cold enough for snow again. We hit record low temperatures yesterday morning, dropping to 25 here in Madison, the Dells as well, down to 18 in Black River Falls. So a very chilly start yesterday. At least it's a little warmer today. Temperatures are in the 40s. Let's take a look at our 24-hour precipitation. It has increased a little bit across southern Wisconsin. We're seeing at least 1/10 of an inch, if not a little bit more, from Madison and points to the south, and we'll continue to add to those numbers. Take a look at Doppler Track this morning. The rain really filling in over the last couple of hours, so almost everyone waking up to some rain falling right now. The rain will continue to move through the area. It's expected to be light to moderate. No severe weather, though, anticipated this morning. Here's a look at a wider view. There is some pretty widespread thunderstorm activity lining up across northern Illinois, but that will stay to our south this morning. Can't ignore the snow that is falling in northern Minnesota as well. So at least we're dealing with rain. It could always be worse, right? Weather track showing you that the clouds are pretty extensive with this particular system. So even though the rain will come to an end as we head towards the afternoon, we're likely going to be stuck under a low deck of clouds. Temperatures are in the 40s in most locations. With the cloud and rain, it's pretty similar in all locations this morning. Here's a look at our numbers in southern Wisconsin. 41 in Mineral Point this morning. If you're waking up in the Dells, it's 41 as well. 42 here in Madison. Janesville's actually up a couple of degrees now to 45. Winds are from the southeast, around 10 to 15 miles per hour, so we are dealing with a little bit of a sideways rain this morning. Take a look at your future track forecast model. The rain continues through the morning commute, so it is going to be wet as you head to work and school this morning. Things should start to dry out in most locations at the lunch hour or shortly thereafter. Take a look at the afternoon. Highs right around 50 with mostly cloudy skies, but that rain off to the east. Now through the overnight hours, expect some fog to develop, especially after all this rain this morning. Temperatures will stay in the 40s overnight. Here's a look at your total rain expectation for today. On the light side, generally 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch across most of southern Wisconsin, so not too heavy. We will add to those rain totals, though, through the week. Take a look at this forecast. Shaping up a little on the wet side this week and cool. We should be hitting highs in the 60s, but I don't have 60s in the forecast until Friday. Never too early to look ahead to the weekend, though. It actually looks pretty nice Friday and especially Saturday, with highs getting into the middle 60s. Let's see if anything's changed on the roads, though. We'll send it over to Josh Tim with traffic.
Yeah, it's a wet start on the roads this morning. Things are moving just a little slower than usual. So far, though, no major delays are showing up on the Beltline. Looking at other roads here in Zane County, a few brake lights on Stoughton Road and the northbound side of Verona Road approaching the Beltline ramps. Things are moving well downtown around campus. Look for everything to pick up, though, over the next hour or so. And other main routes coming into Madison, moving close to the posted speeds with no major crashes or delays. Your First Alert Traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
All right, Josh, thank you. And Hattie, thank you as well. 6:14 this morning, there's a special group of athletes getting ready to compete this weekend in our area.
We're so excited about this. The 2019 Dairyland Games are being held this weekend in Middleton, bringing in athletes of all abilities from across the state and from out of state as well. Here to talk about the games is Director Deb Jenks, as well as Maddie and Henry, who are competing this weekend. Thanks for waking up early, you guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So glad to have you. So I want to start with you, Maddie and Henry. Tell me what you two are taking part in this weekend.
Field, track, and swimming.
How about you, Henry?
Field and track.
What's your favorite?
Track. Track.
You both like track. Why is that?
You get to run.
You get to run?
You get to run long distance.
That's so exciting.
So, Deb, tell us a little bit about this event and what makes it unique. Obviously, we're kind of showcasing the abilities that are really going to be taking part this weekend.
Yeah, so this is our 4th year. We have 70 athletes coming from 8 different states.
Wow.
And it's, like you said, showcasing a lot of different abilities. Most of these kids have either physical or visual disabilities, like Henry and Maddie, but it showcases their abilities and how sport just doesn't see any disability.
You've been doing this for a couple of years now. What are you hearing from the athletes and from their families?
It gives local athletes and regional athletes a place to come and compete because they just don't have that ability right now, and that's the reason why we started the Dairyland Games 4 years ago.
And you've seen some massive growth here since you started it 4 years ago. You started with, was it 20 or 25 the first year?
25 athletes in 2016, and now we've grown to 70 athletes from 8 different states this year. And we have 3 different qualifying events for junior nationals, which will be in Minnesota this year in July.
This is a great learning opportunity for these kids, but I think it's also a learning opportunity for the communities. What do you hear from them?
You know, people that come out and have been a part of the event for a long time, they are just amazed at these athletes, and that we just don't have enough of these opportunities for kids in the area. So we're trying to gain more education to the community to get more involvement with sport.
Boys, what's it like for you guys to be involved with something like this?
It's exciting, and you get to go out and meet new friends.
And I love, Maddie, I love the girls taking part in this. Tell me a little bit about what you're looking forward to.
It's exciting and adventurous.
We're so excited for you both. Looking forward to this. Good luck.
Thanks.
Let's take a look at some of the information. If anybody's interested in going, tell us a little bit about this, Deb. When is this happening? Where can people go?
So this Saturday and Sunday, we're going to be at the Middleton High School. Swimming competition is on Saturday morning. We have open free clinics in the afternoon from 4 to 6, wheelchair basketball and taekwondo, and a row wheels training session, as well as a track and field on Sunday.
All right. Well, thank you so much for waking up with us this morning, and good luck to you boys this weekend.
Good luck, you guys.
Thank you.
You bet.
All right, 6:17 your time now. We here in Madison didn't get several inches of snow that we were bracing for. Not that we're complaining, right?
Nope.
Chris Reese is in next to explain what changed with the forecast and why we didn't see as much snow.
And Kristen, how do you say the snow should be behind us, hopefully, but it'll still be a pretty wet week for us. We have an updated look at the forecast when News 3 Now This Morning returns. Stay with us.
Good morning from the News 3 Now First Alert Weather Center. We're starting off on a very wet note this morning. Lots of raindrops on the camera lens at the Edgewater Sky Cam. Looking at the Capitol, gray skies as well. Get used to it. Not a lot of sunshine in the forecast today, unfortunately. Here's a look at Doppler Track this morning. It is wet across all of southern Wisconsin. Light to moderate rain, but at this hour, no thunder, none expected through the morning hours. The rain will continue this morning, but come to an end for the afternoon. 42 here in Madison is the current temperature, 40 in the Dells and Platteville, 45 in Platteville. So at least it's warm enough for all rain this morning. Your bus stop weather forecast says that you're going to need the rain jacket early today. It will be dry this afternoon, but not terribly warm. Temperatures will be about 10 degrees below normal, hitting highs only in the low 50s later today. Stay warm today.
We will try. Thank you so much, Hattie. So we didn't end up with as much snow over the weekend as we expected, but at this point, not a lot of us are going to complain.
Except maybe our resident snow lover, Chris Reese. I don't know if he's done with it yet or not. He's here now to explain why we didn't see the several inches of snow we were bracing for here in Madison. Hey, Chris.
Good morning, Josh and Leah. And you know, some folks did get the lot of snow. By the way, just a note, I'm not complaining because I did. I was able to see at least some snow this weekend, so that helped. But folks in New Glarus picked up 7 inches of snow. I got a viewer picture from Dodgeville with 7 inches of snow in their backyard as well. Broadhead came in with 6 inches, Beloit 5.5. Mount Horeb, where I just moved from, had nearly 5 inches of snow, and then 2.5 here at the studios, and then a little over an inch as you worked your way towards the airport. And if you were downtown on the Isthmus, it may seem like you didn't get any snow at all because there's so much concrete. It wasn't able to really accumulate on the grass there. But things didn't exactly turn out as expected. Here's what we forecast on Friday going into Saturday and again on Saturday morning. We expected 0 to 2 just north of Madison, 2 to 5 in Madison, and 5 to 7 as you work your way towards the south. The 5 to 7 actually did work out, not too shabby, but the northern 2 tiers of snowfall were really a lot farther south than anticipated. Part of that's just because the storm track ended up being a little bit farther south. So on Thursday, this region of low pressure was over Nebraska. This orange line is where we expected that storm to track. The red line is what actually happened. So that was several hundred miles farther south than expected. The reason for the farther south track is this region of high pressure ended up being stronger than expected, and the low ended up being slightly weaker than expected. So that allowed that high to really bully that low and shove that to the south, bringing drier air into the picture as well. In fact, you could actually see how that drier air began to work in. This is water vapor loop going through Saturday. You see the moisture earlier on, but watch the dry air really sneak in. So that allowed some of that snow to not only start late, but then take a break and then come to an end early. So that was one of the big problems that we ended up seeing. You had high pressure bringing in drier air, forcing that region of low pressure a lot farther south. And the reality is that's just what happens in the weather sometimes. You can have your whole forecast ready to go, and then one little thing changes, and that will shake up the whole thing at the last minute, and you may not even see it. Weather's just one of those forecasts. As I like to say, you have a rotating sphere 800 miles across that's activated by a sun 93 million miles away, and we're trying to tell you, hey, there's going to be a snowstorm somewhere, and those details can be real fuzzy sometimes.
Hey, I was at the Forward Madison soccer game that night. I don't know what people are talking about. Plenty of snow down there. They had to plow the field. I mean, plenty of snow down there, but I don't think anybody is complaining too much about
at this point, I think everyone's like, all right, so that's behind us. We didn't get, I was at a restaurant yesterday, and a guy came to me and he was just like, all right, so I saw someone say that we were going to get 9 inches, and I was like, please don't get 9 inches, please don't get 9 inches, and then we didn't, and I was like, and there you go, that's the way to look at it.
Thank you,
so
Chris.
Yeah, it cracked me up.
This is the one time of the year where you're okay that didn't work out.
Yeah,
so
and at this point, it's April. If this were like November or December, I'd probably be in a corner crying right now. But that's all right. We've had so much snow this winter that I've told a lot of folks, like, anything we get at this point is just bonus.
Fingers crossed, it's the end.
Hopefully.
No more snow angels for Chris.
Not until December.
Thank you, Chris.
Anytime.
All right, still ahead for us this morning. A state lawmaker wants to see more regulation on trampoline parks after his daughter broke her leg playing at one.
And tonight is Madison's first school board meeting since multiple reports of sexual assaults on school grounds. We're going to share what the board's president has to say. That's coming up on News 3 Now this morning.
Now I'm about 12 hours early to a meeting you don't want to miss tonight. The first Madison School Board meeting with a brand new cast coming up in just a few minutes. I'll show you some of their goals.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning, Southern Wisconsin, and thanks for staying with us on this Monday, April 29th. As you can see, very wet Amy out there. You're going to want to have that umbrella with you this morning.
It is coming down out there. Boy, Hattie McLean has her umbrella ready. She says it keeps getting lower and lower as the morning goes on. How's it doing out there, Hattie?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, this is how I want to be right now. We'll push it up a little bit. It is very wet outside this morning. I'm standing in a huge puddle on the patio. The rain's been coming down pretty heavy for the last 30 minutes or so. So we are getting a decent amount of rain. Here's a look at the WISC-TV Skycam shot this morning. There's a southeasterly wind, so you're likely seeing a lot of raindrops on the camera lens this morning as we are looking towards the east. Here's a look at Doppler Track this morning. The rain is widespread. It's really filled in over the last hour and a half. It will continue to track off to the east through the morning hours. The back edge of the rain will be working its way through the area as we head towards lunchtime today. Our current temperatures are in the low 40s, so at least, I guess, if we have to have a wet start, it's warm enough that we have liquid precipitation this morning. 42 in Madison, 45 in Janesville, 40 in the Dells. Here's a look at your forecast as you head out the door. You'll want the umbrella or at least the rain jacket because you need it this morning. With the clouds and rain, temperatures will be very slow to warm up today. Even though the rain comes through this afternoon, we'll have clouds with highs right around 50 degrees. So a little bit chilly for late April. Here's a look at your first alert traffic maps this morning. Roads are wet, but no major issues to report right now, which is great news. Maybe want to plan a little extra time to get to your destination this morning, though things are always a little bit slower when there is rain in the area. So we'll keep an eye on it and let you know if there are any accidents to report.
All right, Hattie, we'll let you get in and get dry, or at least try to get dry.
I'll attempt.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
6:31 your time now. A brand new school board is taking over tonight for the Madison School District.
Yeah, their first meeting tonight will be on the road at Chavez Elementary, and that's where we find our Amy Reed live this morning. And Amy, this mobile meeting isn't the only unique part about tonight.
No, since there are three brand new board members elected just earlier this month, there will be a meet and greet about 45 minutes before the meeting starts at about 5:15. But after that, at 6, they get down to business. This board has a lot that they want to accomplish, including getting a referendum passed, furthering Black excellence, and reinforcing a safe and respectful culture and climate at Madison schools. Lately, there's been some frustration from the community over how the board has handled incidents with students of color and sexual assaults in the district. The board anticipates hearing from the community on that, and they said they plan on listening. Current board president Mary Burke, who has been on the board for 7 years, said they have a lot of work to do.
We've made a lot of progress under the current superintendent. We still have a long way to go. And so the challenges are enormous, but the opportunities are as well. And so that's what we really focus on. And so in that way, it hasn't changed a whole lot over the last 7 years.
If you're planning on coming down tonight, the meeting starts at 6, but they really encourage you to get to the reception at 5:15. Now, there will be more board meetings like this one that's on the road. Both the May meeting and the June meeting will be somewhere else than the Doyle building downtown. Now, right now, they haven't chosen where those will be, but we'll let you know as soon as we know.
All right, Amy Reed reporting live this morning, a very wet live report. Thanks, Amy.
In other news this morning, there is a new push for Wisconsin to regulate the popular trampoline parks you might have visited with your kids. Senator Chris Larson says his 4-year-old daughter Stella broke her leg at a park back in February. That's when he started to ask questions. Larson then discovered there aren't any federal or state regulations for those trampoline parks. The Milwaukee senator is now looking into whether they could be regulated here in Wisconsin with the simple rule change. But if not, he does plan to draft a bill. He says he's happy that Stella finally has her cast off, but says the lack of available information has been frustrating for his family.
We realized, wait a second, this is ridiculous that this happened in the first place, and what kind of regulations are there in place, what's going on. And so now that she's all healed and everything's okay, we're looking back and making sure this doesn't happen to anybody else.
At least 8 states have taken steps to regulate trampoline parks. The government counts 18,000 injuries in 2017 alone. The International Association of Trampoline Parks tells News 3 Now it would, quote, welcome the opportunity to work with lawmakers to develop responsible industry regulation.
Some Republican lawmakers are looking into ways to accept federal funding for Medicaid in Wisconsin, while GOP leaders remain steadily opposed to Medicaid expansion. Governor Eavers is also publicly refusing to alter his full expansion proposal. However, the governor and those lawmakers are working on negotiations, looking into what other states have done to find compromise on the issue. Accepting the money would make 82,000 more low-income parents and childless adults in Wisconsin eligible for the coverage. Half of those people are currently on private plans or don't have insurance at all. Assembly Speaker Robin Vos and Republican opponents say expanding Medicaid will push costs into the private sector because of low reimbursement rates. They've also expressed concern over the government's ability to maintain funding levels.
We want to take a minute and thank everyone who made it out to Warner Park on Saturday for our annual Shred Fest event. In just 2.5 hours, more than 22 tons of personal documents were destroyed. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. More than 1,400 people threw away anything from receipts, bank statements, pay stubs, and bills, despite all the snow and rain Saturday morning. This is no joke, folks. I had a very serious face on during the Shred Fest event. You saw our lovely Susan Simon and Danica Lewis there as well. According to the Better Business Bureau, most identity theft crimes occur when something containing your personal information is lost or stolen. If you couldn't make it out on Saturday, but still have some sensitive documents you'd like to shred, there are other events happening across the area this summer. You can find a list of those on the BBB's website.
You look serious.
Oh my gosh, I take this event very, very seriously. I was directing traffic. It was nuts, 1,400 people.
You can see the lineup of cars there. That was incredible.
I told you earlier, 45 minutes to get out of Warner Park. That's how bad the traffic was. But again, just a testament to how important this event is.
And good to see people taking care of themselves, really.
Right.
You said some guy earlier was like back in the 70s he had some of his book work from, so.
Yep, he was handing me over boxes of documents from the 70s and 80s, but good to see.
Yeah, there you go. All right, 6:36 right now, and it's a bit of a wet morning out there, but it's not stopping one man from doing something good.
We love this story. Rain or shine, you can expect him to be outside, making sure kids get to school safely. We're going to share his story next on News 3 Now this morning.
All right, we've been asking you to share your morning with us, and that is not our picture. There it is. Jenny posted this on Facebook. It's our new #1 fan, Leah. You can see the cat.
All right, Josh always has the best puns on this show, so I'm going to try my hand. What a perfect way to start your morning,
On
Jenny.
News 3 Meow this morning.
I knew you were going to follow up with that. Oh, man. Okay, thank you, Jenny, for posting this. It's so sweet. What does your morning look like? Take a picture, post it on social media, and make sure you use that hashtag #MyNews3Morning so Josh and I can find and share our favorites. All right, whether the sun is shining, it's raining, or snowing sideways like it was this weekend, you can count on a school crossing guard to be there Monday through Friday.
We want to introduce you to one crossing guard who's using his mornings on the job to get everyone's day off to a good start. While their job is to make sure people and pets walk or bike across the road safely, there's one intersection in Madison that has become quite active, all because of this man. This is Bobby Ringquist, and without fail, every morning at Monroe and Glenway Streets, he's constantly wishing those who see him the best of the morning.
Because I know sometimes when I wake up in the morning, I don't even want to be around me. I just wake up in a bad mood. But, you know, if it helps someone get out of their bad mood going to school or work, I'm all for it.
A little bright personality there.
Love him.
Tonight in a special Do Something Good story, Charlotte DeLeste and photojournalist Kathy King show us Bobby in action as they join him on a chilly spring morning. That's tonight on News 3 Now at 10.
This is the kind of story we love to share on the morning show. Some happy news to wake you up.
It really is, and you see a lot of them, you know, if you're out and about during the morning and afternoon, they're out there, rain, snow, like we mentioned. It's going to be a wet morning for them today, but
They are. We do
doing something
appreciate
good.
them. Yeah, looking forward to that story.
All right, 6:41 right now, and whether you're walking to school or just trying to get to work, you're going to want that umbrella really all week.
Yep.
It is a bit of a wet start to the morning, and it could be a wet week overall. Hattie's updating her first alert forecast after the break.
But first, it's April 29th. We want to say happy birthday to Amelia, Gianna, and all of the kiddos turning 3 today. Thanks so much for celebrating with us here on News 3 Now this morning. Have a great one. Welcome back. You're taking a live look at the west side of Madison right now. At least we think it's the west side of Madison.
I see nothing.
So foggy out there. Oh my goodness. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but Patty's got a pretty rainy forecast ahead for the rest of the week.
Napping weather.
It is. That's the silver lining. We will check in with her in just a little bit. Hoping for better results tomorrow. The Bucks were looking a bit rusty on the court yesterday after nearly a week off. The Bucks kicked off the conference semifinals in the NBA playoffs yesterday against the Celtics. But Boston proved home court advantage doesn't necessarily mean a win. All around, the team had an off night when it came to making shots. Giannis had 22 points, Chris Middleton was 16. But 5 of the Celtics players were in the double digits. As a result, the Bucks lost by a double-digit deficit. Final score, 112-90. They'll try again in Game 2. That's tomorrow night at the Fiserv Forum. Tip-off is at 7 p.m.
Not a good weekend for the Brewers either. They were hoping for a series sweep yesterday, but weren't able to deliver. Yesterday afternoon in New York, the Mets led early 2-0. In the 5th inning, Christian Yelich was pulled from the game with some lower back pain. And after the game, Craig Counsell said Yelich was a little sore and he'll be day-to-day for now. Some highlights: Brewers were down 2-0 in the 7th inning until Mike Moustakas hit his 7th homer of the season, tying up the ball game. But Mets responded quickly, taking the lead 3-2 in the bottom of the inning. Final score 5-2. Brewers start their series against the Rockies at home later tonight, and Yelich is not expected to be in that lineup.
Looks like a roof close kind of a forecast, Hads. What do you think?
I think so, yeah. It's going to be pretty wet across southern Wisconsin. In fact, take a look outside this morning. Here's the view from the Edgewater Sky Cam. Definitely raining downtown, and as we look at the radar map this morning, you'll see that the rain's pretty widespread all across the area. Pretty wet this morning. Actually, a little bit heavier just south of the Dells, in between the Dells and Madison. Look for the rain to continue for the next couple of hours. No severe weather or even thunder is expected, though, here across southern Wisconsin. It could always be worse, right? It's cold enough for some snow across parts of north central Wisconsin and northern Minnesota this morning. So at least temperatures are in the 40s here. So we're dealing with all rain. Here's a look at your GFS Future Track forecast model. This is starting this morning right about now. Wet across southern Wisconsin with that snow to the north. The rain moves out, though, for the afternoon. Just cloudy skies for the remainder of the day, or the dry conditions, though, expected for the second part of the day. We're not done with the rain, though. Another storm system moves in on Tuesday. We'll start on a dry note Tuesday morning, but rain moves in for the second part of the day, so for the afternoon and evening, some showers and isolated thunderstorms will be possible. Pretty good bet that that rain continues into Wednesday, and then yet another storm system. This is Thursday morning. More wet weather off to the west, moving through the area on Thursday. So when you add it up over the week, we have quite a few chances for rain. Here's a look at total rain amounts by Friday morning. Likely going to see around an inch for most of southern Wisconsin, maybe slightly higher amounts through the central part of the state. Now our temperatures this morning are at least in the 40s. Yesterday morning we started out in the 20s. Today 42 in Madison, 45 in Janesville, 43 in Mineral Point. Not bad temperature-wise, but there is a southeasterly wind around 15 miles an hour. That's making it feel a little chilly this morning. Combine that with the rain, and it's a pretty dreary start to the day. Good news on those winds, though, as we head towards the afternoon and evening, those winds begin to die down. Your Future Track forecast model, again, wet this morning, low 40s across southern Wisconsin. Here's the lunch hour. Still maybe a few showers lingering across the region. They'll come to an end pretty quickly through the afternoon. High temperatures right around 50 in Lone Rock, 50 in Madison and Watertown and Juneau, as well as Janesville. So a little cool for this time of the year. Clouds stick around through the evening. Some fog is likely to develop overnight tonight. Here's a look at that extended forecast. Staying on the cool side with highs in the 50s through Thursday. Friday, though, looks to be a nice day. 61 with sunshine and even dry on Saturday with a high of 64. Look at this cute Harold as a baby.
Oh, honey.
Look at that face.
What a great hairdo. He's
I just
stylish.
want to curl up with Harold today.
Harold looks all cuddly, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Perfect day for it.
Perfect napping weather.
It really
Yes.
is.
Thank you, Hattie.
You're welcome.
Stay with us. The Morning Sprint is up next on News 3 Now.
It's 6:52, time for the morning sprint. Hattie says we should be ready for a pretty rainy week.
And Amy Reed is at Chavez Elementary, where Madison's new school board gets ready to tackle a lengthy to-do list at their first meeting tonight. But we start this morning in West Baltimore, where police are still searching for suspects in a deadly shooting at a cookout near a church. One person was killed and 6 others were hurt. The shooting happened near 2 churches, but investigators say the shooting was not connected to those churches. As of this morning, no one is in custody.
Funeral services will be held today for the woman killed in a shooting at a California synagogue over the weekend. 60-year-old Lori Gilbert Kay was killed. 3 others were wounded when a gunman started shooting during worship on the last day of Passover. The 19-year-old suspect could be charged with a felony hate crime on top of homicide charges. He's due in court later this week.
And it's a wet start this morning across southern Wisconsin. Temperatures are in the 40s, so it's all rain here. There is some snow showing up on the radar map to the north. Temperatures will definitely be above the freezing point today, so rain in the forecast this morning, transitioning just to cloudy skies through the afternoon. Take a look at these temperatures. A little cool for this time of the year, only topping right around 50 degrees later today.
Tonight here at Chavez Elementary, there's a meeting that you don't want to miss. The first board meeting for the new Board of Education for Madison School District. There will be a meet and greet at 5:15 with all the members of the board, including the 3 brand new ones elected just earlier this month. The regular meeting will start at 6. This is just the first of at least 3 meetings where the board is coming to you. They said they're looking forward to hearing what you would like to see as they continue working on safety and excellence in Madison schools.
Wisconsin State Senator Chris Larson says he wants new regulations on trampoline parks after his 4-year-old daughter broke her leg at one in February. Larson discovered there aren't any federal or state regulations for those parks. The Milwaukee senator is now looking into whether they could be regulated in Wisconsin with a simple rule change, and if not, he plans to draft a bill. At least 8 states have taken steps to regulate trampoline parks. The government counts 18,000 injuries in 2017.
Some Republican lawmakers are looking into ways to accept federal funding for Medicaid in Wisconsin, while GOP leaders remain steadily opposed to Medicaid expansion. Governor Eavers is also publicly refusing to alter his full expansion proposal. However, the governor and those lawmakers are working on negotiations, looking into what other states have done to try and find compromise on the issue. Accepting the money would make 82,000 more low-income parents and childless adults in Wisconsin eligible for the coverage. Half of those people are currently on private plans or don't have insurance at all.
Researchers on the UW campus are stepping up to help farmers who might be interested in the state's new hemp crop. The UW Extension and College of Ag and Life Sciences are teaming up to award $35,000 to a project that can help research the best practices for hemp production and harvest. Last year, around 250 farmers applied through DATCAP to grow hemp in Wisconsin. This year, more than 1,400 applied. While the dairy industry has continued to struggle, there's hope that hemp can provide a new source of income for our farmers.
A new study is looking at the effects of job stress and lack of sleep on people with high blood pressure. Researchers in Germany say workers who suffered from both problems are at 3 times the risk of dying from heart disease. The study showed poor sleep and stress from work often go hand in hand, which only makes hypertension worse.
An iconic piece of the old General Motors plant is no longer standing this morning in Janesville. This is footage from yesterday morning of the century-old smokestack being knocked down. It's part of a demolition started by the site's new owners about a year ago. According to the Janesville Gazette, the 200-foot stack was built in 1919. The plant has been closed since 2009.
Avengers Endgame is officially the biggest box office smash ever, and it isn't even close. The most anticipated movie of the year raked in $1.2 billion in its opening weekend, almost doubling the previous record. It's the first movie ever to make more than $1 billion in its opening weekend. Many movie theaters stayed open for 72 hours straight over the weekend to show Endgame.
And the Milwaukee Bucks will have to overcome a loss in Game 1 if they hope to move on to the Eastern Conference Finals. The Bucks lost to the Boston Celtics 112-90 yesterday at the Pfizer Forum. The Greek Freak scored 22 points, but he and the rest of the Bucks struggled with their shooting. It's the Bucks' largest loss of the season. Game 2 is tomorrow night in Milwaukee.
6:56 now. Let's turn it over to Josh Tim with a look at your first alert traffic. Hey, Josh.
Good morning. The rain and wet roads slowing things down on the westbound Beltline this morning. Already some brake lights showing up between Stoughton Road and John Nolan, adding a few minutes to your drive time. Looking at some of the usual slowdowns on the inbound side of John Nolan near Rimrock and Olin Avenue heading into the downtown area. And other main routes moving into Madison. They're moving at the posted speeds with no major crashes or delays. Your first alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thank you, Josh. Happy Monday.
And it might be a little tough to get out of bed this Monday morning. This is a look outside from our Edgewater sky cam. Definitely raining in downtown Madison this morning. Rain is expected through the early morning hours, but it'll taper off by midday today. Temperatures will top only around 50 degrees, so it is a little cool for this time of the year. We're rewarded with a nice forecast for the upcoming weekend, but until we get to then, still plenty of chances for rain with highs in the 50s this week.
All right, Hattie, thank you, and thanks for joining us this morning. Grab the umbrella if you're headed out. Make it a great day. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning.